Why isn't acid one of the chemicals? Is acid not a
Well,
chemical?
well, the acid is a product really of a chemical, isn't it? Really. Now, of course, we
All
get
right.
acid made within our bodies. I mean, they say, don't they, acid reflux and things like that that
Yeah.
come don't get properly digested. So we do
Yeah.
have acids within us. I don't honestly know whether one of the 53 very tiny amounts of chemical components is an acid. I don't know.
Yeah. All
But
right. I
yeah,
get it.
the acid is certainly there within us.
All right. Okay.
But okay, well, just to sort of good questions. But what
Yeah.
we come to the point you probably felt right at the beginning because you used the word artificial.
Mm.
The fact is, however clever somebody may be
Yeah.
in putting together, however carefully you get the components, that whoever you ask to put it all together and build
Yeah.
this human being, you'd only get so far for the simple reason that nobody can make a single living cell. Of course, the cell is the thing of life, isn't it? So, they call it the God component or something like that.
All
But
right.
we can create a human being to make it look like a replica of a human being, Benedict Cumberbatch or anybody else. But we cannot actually create the cell that gives life. You can ask the brainiest people, past or present, they simply cannot do that. Whether they will ever be able to come up with a form of life. I mean, I think I've read in fairly recent times that they feel they're getting close to creating a sort of artificial cell which could start to think for itself. And we know there's artificial intelligence. Now, we don't know how that will develop in years to come, but at the moment they cannot make a single living cell that the cells that make us what we are. And therefore, it's incredible to think. I mean, quite an interesting study that was done in Cambridge in 2013. But when you think that all of the chemicals that are needed and are within us, you
Mm.
can find really in a pile of dirt. You could pick up a scoop of dirt from a garden or from a flower box, and you've likely got all of the chemicals that you've got in a human body, which is
Yeah.
which is quite an incredible thing, because when you think about it, the only special thing about that handful of dirt is that it makes us. These components actually make us. The stuff of life, albeit without that magic of the single cell, and
Mm.
and that is the miracle of life. So throughout our lives, we live within. Excuse me, I've got a bit of a cold. We live within this wobble of flesh.
Yeah.
No, I could have put that a bit better, couldn't I? Hear people saying you talk for yourself, mate. But yeah, not this wobble of flesh. But I should have said we live within these supermodel and Adonis type bodies, without ever really needing to ask, why is this happening? We take so much for granted.
We do.
And some time ago, I remember thinking, I sometimes read in the newspaper or wherever else that somebody's had an accident or an injury and they've had their spleen removed. And I used to think, well, what does the spleen do? Where is it? And I just didn't know. So I remember some time ago now excuse me, looking it up.
Mm.
Any idea what the spleen does at all? Any idea?
Uh, is that what cleans the blood? Is that what he does?
Yeah, well, it's good. You're not too far away there. It
Oh, good.
actually it stores blood and it filters blood. And
All
so I
right.
blood. And
All
so
right.
I've never really researched this more, but the fact is people do have their spleen removed if they have an accident. I mean, it's
All right.
situated, I think, in the rib cage on the left side, just above the stomach. So if you have a certain injury or an accident, you can have it removed. But I don't know how the body then makes up or compensates for that loss of that organ. But that's the spleen. So you had a good opinion on that one. How
All
many
right.
times a day, a waking day, do you think we blink?
Uh, Probably in the thousands. So I'd say 50,000 upwards.
Yeah, that's. I'm sure that is a reasonable guess, even though it's completely wrong. But but it's one of those. Not being disrespectful there. It's one of those questions, isn't it? Where,
Right.
and as I say, when I thought about some of this, I thought, how many times do we blink? And I didn't know. And I thought, if someone said that to me, like I've just said it to you, it's one of those questions you think, oh, I could come across as a complete idiot here because it could be, I don't know, 5,000, it could be 50,000. I mean, it's a bit like digressing here. I don't know why, but it's a bit like if a woman ever asks you, "How old am I?" It's lethal, isn't it? And I think any bloke will know you never ever risk answering that question because you could you could, you could end up in hospital, presumably. So I think the best way out of that is if a woman asks me that, I tend to think, well, I'm going to faint on the floor, and all that kerfuffle is a great distraction, and they forget they've asked the question. So don't ever answer that question, cuz whatever you do, don't answer if a woman ever says that. But I've completely digressed. But yeah, it's a difficult one, the blinking. In fact, apparently it's 14,000, 14,000 in your daily waking hours. It doesn't seem enough to me, but who's going to count it?
Yeah.
And yeah, 14,000 a day. And apparently it also says that that means your eyes are closed during every waking day for 23 minutes. Now, again, to be honest, I saw that figure in a book somewhere, and I still find that hard to believe that, you think about the blink, it's instant. And
Yeah.
14,000 a day really mean our eyes are closed for 23 minutes? I don't know. It just doesn't seem realistic. But these are the things, we don't really ever think about. Every moment of every day, our bodies are, you know, carrying out unquantifiable work, tasks, systems. I mean, if I say to you, in the last second, your body has made 1 million red blood cells
Wow.
speeding around your body, coursing through your veins, and keeping you alive. Every